Yo, what's cracking, shawties? I am so fucked up right now. Um, I'm here to bless your ears with a anecdote of my absolute fiendery up here at BYUI, which is not a real place. I'm pretty much here because my parents think I'm like some really like goody two shoes fucking Mormon kid, but I literally have done 45 different drugs, none of which they know about. Some of which I regret, but some of which I still do to this day. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of fucked. But either way, Idaho is not real. Okay, I've lived here for 2 years. I would know. Idaho is not real. This place was literally made as a punishment for me. And like everybody here is just a counterpart of God's punishment for me. So that's pretty much the reality I'm living in right now. Someone save me, please. Like, please save me. But yeah, I don't know how I got away with this. This happened early 2025, which technically was my second semester at BYUI, but it was like the first semester that I actually did shit. And I was starting to date a little bit. I was starting to date around, and I was starting to kind of get back into drugs a lot more. The semester before this, I was only really doing a shit ton of Adderall, but this semester I kind of started getting back into psychs, and I started getting back into acid, and I started getting back into all that fun shit, right? Before it was just, hella Adderall, which my grades were good, so maybe I should have kept that shit up. Who knows? But yeah, I started doing acid again. And I started dating a lot, because when I was on amphetamines, I didn't want to date for shit, dude. My dick barely worked. Like, dude, when you're on fucking amphetamines, your blood is rushing to your brain, okay? There's not enough left over for your dick, bro. Like, I could take or leave women when I was off the Addies, dog. I'm gonna be so for real. But, dude, off the psychs, I was kind of into women, bro. Like, dude, I know Molly isn't a psychedelic, but I started doing Molly around this time, and dude, the first time I did Molly this semester, I remember I was like, dude, I need women in my life right now. And I remember I downloaded every dating app, and I was just so fucking hyped up, and I was with my homies, and I was just like, yo, women, like women, it's women time. Okay, like that's what the attitude was. So I got a whole bunch of dating apps. I'd been talking to a few girls, and there was this girl. She was a blonde shawty. We'll call her Veronica for the sake of this video. She was such a fucking baddie. Like, I don't know how I pulled her. Like, I don't think I'm like ugly or anything. Like, I think I'm a pretty good looking dude, but like, I still don't know how I pulled her because she's just that bad. Like, she's just that much of a baddie to the point where it's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, I was like so surprised when like I pulled her. I was like, yo, let's go. Like, I was so fucking hyped, dude. Like, I just still remember matching with her. And we talked a little bit, and I remember we agreed we were gonna go get ice cream, and then we were gonna make music because like I have like FL Studio, right? Like I make trap beats and shit. And I told her about that, and she was like, yo, that's like really cool. We should like make a beat maybe. And I was like, yo, that would be fire. Let's do it. Cause I had never considered that before. And I always appreciated when I went on a date that like added to my playbook. Cause I had a whole playbook, dude. Nowadays, it's like I like climb churches with girls and shit. Like that's like my playbook nowadays. But dude, it used to just be like we'd go get ice cream and then talk, dude. Like that, dude. I used to have some problems, dude. Like, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. Anyways, that's some off-topic shit. We'll talk about my mental health in a different fucking video. I was kind of gonna prepare for this day a little bit by not doing drugs for 4 days. And the reason I say 4 days is because as a really experienced drug user, that's just kind of like a rule of thumb for like when the drugs stop affecting you. Just like, for example, if you pop like an Adderall XR and you're like geeking, like you're geeked as fuck, you don't have ADHD, you bought that shit from the plug, and you geeked as fuck, and you like just geek for like 8 hours, and you crash, there's going to be a 4 day period where your brain is just like recovering, dude. Like it's like recovering from like the geekage that you just partook in, dude. Like that is like, I swear, Like after, especially with uppers, like after you do a shit ton of uppers, you're just fucking stupid the day after, dude. And like I find that like the day after I do a shit ton of amphetamines, I'm so socially awkward because my brain is just fucking fried, dude. Like it's so bad. That is the last thing you want on a date. And the most common class of drugs I do are amphetamines. So I have to be especially careful because if I do amphetamines the day before a date, then I am going to sound like I have complete Down syndrome when I go on that date. Like it is literally going to make me so retarded if I just like blast my brain with amphetamines the day before a date. So the day of me and Veronica's date rolls around, right? And I'm sober as fuck. Sober as can be. I am sober as a little Christian boy, all right? My parents would be proud. But then it was around 3 p.m., and me and Veronica had planned to go out around like 8, right? It was around 3 p.m., and she cancels. I get a text from her, and she cancels. Which I'm kind of just like, all right, like I hit her up. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I was a little pissed because I had just spent the last couple days sober, and for what, right? So I was a little bit pissed, but at the same time, I knew deep down that like now I was gonna be able to have a lot more fun of an evening. Like I had already hit up my friends like what 5 minutes after she told me that. I was like, yo, let's trip. And I knew deep down that I was going to have a lot more fun doing acid than I was ever going to have on this date with a Mormon girl. you know, um, the only reason I was actually dating at the time is because I thought having a girlfriend would be even funner than all the drugs I was doing at the time. Which I would later learn my lesson about that one, but that's for a different video. Um, so I had planned with my friends to trip dick on this fine evening, right? I had hit up my friends. I'll call them. Let's see here. I'll call them Lucas and AJ. Okay, Lucas and AJ. So me and Lucas and AJ, we meet up around like 6, right? Or no, we meet up around like 5. Actually, we meet up at the park. And we drop acid. I take 2 tabs because my tolerance was through the fucking roof at this point. And so now I am off 240 micrograms of the finest acid in the city, right? Give it about an hour. I'm coming up hard as fuck, right? And at this point, it's pretty much just, your typical dropping acid at the park with your friends type of situation, right? The grass is greener type shit, right? Which I remember these tabs that Lucas had were actually fucking sexy, dude. Like these tabs were good. I remember coming up and just like looking around and dude, it looked like the just spatial progression of like when I would like look forward, it looked like the depth of the world was just made out of an array of 2D images. It was so fucking fire, dude. Like it was so fucking crazy. But it was lit. And we're just tripping dick, having our usual, retarded acid conversations, which I do not remember and I cannot recall for shit. And basically, what happened was around 6 p.m., Veronica hits me up and she's like, and this is after canceling, mind you. She hits me up and she's like, yo, wanna go on a double? And I'm like, what the fuck, right? Like, I'm like, yo, you just canceled like 2 hours ago. Like, what the fuck are you on about, right? And I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not the type to turn down a date, especially at this point in my life. Like, I was not the type to turn down a date, especially with someone this bad. Like, if it was nowadays and she was maybe like a little bit like less hot, I probably would have said no. But she was a baddie, okay? You have to understand, this was a fucking 9, okay? This girl was from Tennessee because she was the only 10 I saw. Holy fuck, right? So I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll go on this double date. So I texted her back. I was like, lit, like, I'm down. And now I'm in a predicament because not only did I have to go on this date while on fucking 240 micrograms of acid, but she had also said that we were gonna have to meet at 7 now, which we were originally planning on meeting at 8. But like the couple we were going with, which was just her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend, for some reason just insisted that we meet at 7. So now we were doing the shit at 7, which meant I only had an hour to get my shit together. So I started walking back from the park like almost immediately. And luckily, the roommate's boyfriend was going to be the one driving, so I didn't have to drive off 2 tabs, which I would never recommend doing. Driving on acid is probably more retarded than Down syndrome itself. So I was really happy about that actually. So I got my shit together. I got ready, put on my designer cologne and shit. Sorry for the casual flex there. I got all my shit together, got ready, and at 7, they come through and pick me up. And the car ride is pretty normal, right? I maintain pretty well for the car ride, right? We're me and Veronica were, chatting it up a little bit in the back seat, and it's chill, right? It's chill. Like I'm a little bit autistic probably, but like for the most part, it's chill. We get to the ice cream place and we sit down, and this is where things kind of start to get a little questionable, I won't lie, because we're sitting across from Veronica's roommate and her boyfriend, and I'm just spacing the fuck out, gang. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I was just staring behind Veronica's roommate's boyfriend because he had a window behind them and I could see the road. And I just looked at the road and it was like crystallizing and shit. Like the fucking ground was just turning into like all these crazy ass like shards of like a light, and it was like glimmering and glistening. It was so fucking cool. And I was just like spacing out and I looked like a schizo. And Veronica asked me like, yo, like, what's up? And I didn't really have an explanation. Well, I did. I'll get into that. But I was kind of like a little bit taken aback when she asked me what the fuck I was doing. I was like, oh shit, I am on a date with a LDS girl, right? Like I kind of snapped back into reality. And I ended up telling her because, I mean, this was probably something I was going to have to tell her at some point anyway. So I ended up telling her that I was seeing spiders because I have HPPD. Just like, I guess you could call it PTSD actually because it's like trauma induced. And it's from a really bad acid trip I had where I just saw spiders all over me. I looked down and I saw a bunch of spiders on me, and it freaked me out so fucking bad that now I just like have like spider visions sometimes. It's really fucked actually. It's a whole thing. But I was probably gonna have to tell her that at some point anyways, because I literally see spiders whenever I'm anxious. And so I just told her that basically. I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm like a little nervous right now. And so I was just like seeing spiders on the wall. And I told her like, because I had told her about my HPPD, but I didn't like go into specifics. So I like kind of like told her about it a little bit. And it kind of got like a whole conversation going at the table about drugs. So now we're talking about drugs while I'm on 240 micrograms of acid. And we're just like talking about like my drug experiences and shit. And I'm just telling them about like how I used to trip dick on acid and about how I would never do such a thing nowadays. It was, dude, it was kind of fucked. It was a fucked situation. But yeah, it did get my mind off of the road though, which is good. Because now I had something to kind of distract me. It was a high stakes situation. Now they could not find out I was on acid because I had told them I don't do it anymore. So I was a little bit stressed, but it was like, it's cool. Like I was able to kind of get out of the whole situation I was in before. And we kind of get done with our ice cream pretty quickly. We all got smalls, because we went to a place called Cold Stone, and every size other than small is big as fuck. So we all got the smallest size, and it was like, just a little tiny bit of ice cream, right? And I remember I got like this caramel apple pie flavor, and it was smacking, dude. Like, I'm usually the type where on acid I don't eat because it feels like I can physically feel the food like in my body, and it feels like I like get heavier and like get weighed down when I eat. Like, it's so weird like how my body like just like senses food when I'm on acid. I really don't fuck with it. But on this fine day, it was all right. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of fucking with the ice cream, but we kind of get done with our ice cream, and now the plan is that we're gonna go play mini golf. We weren't gonna go back to my place and make a beat anymore because we were with other people, and so making a beat wasn't really gonna be a whole lot of fun anymore. So we just like planned to go play mini golf at an arcade that was in Rexburg. So we go and play mini golf, and what I had failed to recognize in advance is that mini golf courses are colorful as fuck, right? So now we're at the mini golf course, and it is colorful, gang. It is looking like a Coco Melon video in there. And I'm just so overwhelmed because there's so much moving shit. And we're in an arcade, and everything is just buzzing and flying around, and it's just like, yeah, I'm getting a bit nauseous, I'm not gonna lie. And on top of that, I am doing absolutely awful at this mini golf game, okay? Like, dude, I was sucking total cock at this mini golf game. Okay, I was sucking more cock than Mia Khalifa at this mini golf game. And I don't even remember what my score was, but yo, I definitely lost. I definitely came in last. And the cherry on top is that halfway through, I had to run to the bathroom and yak my guts up. Okay? Now, this luckily was not something that Veronica noticed, right? Like, on the bright side, I was able to play it off to where she didn't know I was yakking my fucking guts up in the bathroom, right? So, it was all chill, I think Veronica could definitely tell I was out of it for the whole mini golf game. And she definitely was not impressed by my mini golf skills. Okay, like if mini golf was the criteria here as to whether or not I was, boyfriend material, I definitely would have been cooked. But I guess it didn't matter either way because after this mini golf game, when she dropped me off, I had kind of just reflected on the date, like once I got home. And I kind of just came to the consensus that this girl was too good for me, right? Not in the sense that she was like too attractive for me or too bad for me, but it was just like she was too LDS for me, like, and that's not based on my preferences. Like, I'm not like an unattracted to girls who are really Christian or anything. I just knew that like I didn't want to put her through my bullshit, right? I was a 19-year-old drug addict, okay? Like, I didn't want to put her through having to deal with like a fucking crackhead like that, right? Like, she should be looking for a nice return missionary who's gonna, raise kids with her and the church and shit like that. Like, that's what she's looking for. And this girl is like just a poster child LDS girl, right? Like, she's like, her father's a stake president type shit. So that's kind of the vibes I got from her, and I just didn't want to fuck that up for her. I didn't want to be a bad influence. I was looking for a girl who was at least a little bit like, fucked. I'd probably not making a whole lot of sense, but basically what I'm saying is I didn't ask for a second date or anything, right? And I don't even know if I would have gotten it. Either way, I don't really know if that would have been something that was even an option for me. But yeah, I didn't ask for a second date or anything. I kind of just was like, yo, like, thanks for going out with me. I had a fun time, like, whatever. And that's pretty much all that really came of it. And she was like, yeah, for sure, like, I don't know. I forgot what she said exactly, but she never really mentioned that. Like she was never really like, "Oh, you seem fucked up, buddy." I could tell you was off the shits, gang. Like she never like say anything like that. But I mean, I think there's a chance she probably knew something was up. But you know what? For being off 240 micrograms of acid, I think I gave a pretty solid performance. So fuck you. Okay, I was kind of like, I was pulling off the moves, all right? I had all the defenses ready. I had all the systems go. I was pretty alert for someone who was tripping dick. Okay, was it a fun trip? Hell no. Okay, it was not a fun trip at all. At least for the date, it wasn't a fun trip. But the date was over by like 11. And I had taken the acid at like, what, 5, 6? So I still had a few hours left on my trip. I came home, I was tripping pretty hard. I called up my friends and they came over and we just kind of kicked it for a little bit. We actually made some beats, unlike me and Veronica. And it was a fun time, I had a fun rest of my evening. My friends were kind of asking me, Lucas and AJ were asking me, like, yo, how'd the date go? I was like, it went fine. And they were kind of expecting it to be catastrophic as fuck. Like, when I told them at first I was going out with the LDS girl, they were like, hey, good luck, gang. You about to make a fucking fool out of yourself. But I think I did pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Stay tuned, because I'm going to be dropping a whole lot more crackhead bangers about my experiences doing drugs at a church school. So, yeah, stay tuned in this, John. Fwah!